Hey Sandy, hey everybody. Happy you guys are here. I'm clearly, wait, why is my head, there we go. I'm clearly in my mansion again tonight. But my head, when I move my head that way, it's just weird. How's everybody doing this Friday? Clearly I need a green screen. Yes, if you can hit the like when you come on in, that would be awesome. But, sorry, hold on. If there's any lag, I apologize. All of my children, all three, are on their video games right now. Okay, I can't use this anymore because my head, it's like cutting half my head off. It's bothering me. Hold on, I'm switching back. Hang on. And there goes the mansion. Hey, Beatlemaniac. So I wanted to show you, if you hear my husband's cooking chicken or something, like what is going on? It's Friday night. I thought if I streamed at 10 o'clock, like people would be calmed down in my house, and that's just not happening. But I want to talk about yeah, well, it switched back. It was cutting off half my head. Hey, Kate does crime. So there's not really, I mean, this Kylie case has been going on for obviously a few weeks, and we see like it's not dying down. There's still a whole lot of things going out there. There's still a lot of people that believe there's foul play and all. Hey, cool gamer. But I wanted to show you something that was really weird, I thought. I talk about that private, hey Rena, that private investigator, and he was going through his drone footage, and some of y'all may have seen this. And this isn't really like anything to do with like, oh, this is, hey Pamela, hey Jingles, hey Sandy, like, oh, hey Unique Trauma Punkette, like, wow, I can't believe this type news. It's weird. So he was going through his drone footage after he found out that she was um found, and let's get to it here. He went back through his drone footage. Can you see it, y'all? So this is the same clip, just over, honey. Um, he couldn't believe, he said when he went over this after he left, he couldn't believe, like, that's her car down there. Because that's the spot she was, hey Amber, was uh was found. And he said it's just kind of surreal, like when you look back and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. So I just thought that was interesting. And he did confirm that she wasn't, like, I know a lot of people thought she might be unfamiliar with the road, and this was not her first party there allegedly, and she grew up driving those roads even when she didn't have a license, so it was very common. So yes, if you're a member, please join us in Discord. I promise it's not anything that, like, we screenshot things and they're going to be all over YouTube or anything, because we don't do any drama in there. We do a lot of case discussion and digging and stuff like that. So it's no drama. It's the same rules we have here. Um, yeah, that's what I thought too, Beatlemaniac. Hey, Emily. So there's just some weird things. But moving on from that, Jolissa's case. So yesterday, Adventures with Purpose did not find her. Hey, Pointer Lover. If I missed somebody, I am truly sorry. Adventures with Purpose did not. Yeah, Rena. Adventures with Purpose did not find her in Avocado Lake, which was good. They searched Pine Lake today, or Pine Flat Lake today, or whatever it's called. And as of, yes, there may be a few of those Punkette. As of 5 hours ago, there was still, they hadn't found anything in that lake. So at this point, I believe if she was going to be found, or at least today's search, we would have heard already if, you know, she was there. So as of today, she's not. I will say that there's a couple things, a couple questions people had asked me the other night that I was able to confirm. Now, she did call her brother between that 3 and 4 o'clock time frame, where she found out he was at, hey Jen, he was at Denny's, and that's when she decided to leave. But allegedly, nothing was out of the ordinary. Everything was fine. They were talking, all that kind of stuff. So that came from her mom. The other thing is that there was a fight at this party she was at, but apparently, according to mom, it wasn't like anything that was like everything ended fine and stuff. It wasn't like somebody was gonna go whatever, do something to each other. Um, allegedly, well, based on what mom said, the she was didn't have any boyfriend or anything like that. She was a super hard worker. She hadn't met anybody online that they know of. She was a super hard worker. Met six, worked like 6 days a week. Was able to pay cash for her car. All these things, and that this is extremely out of the ordinary that she would just leave like this. Now, somebody did ask her, "Is it normal that she would go to?" No, they have not. Pointer lover. Yes, thank you for. I did verify that they have not. So Criminality and myself, we both have heard something about her being on Bank of America footage. Police have said that they do know she was by herself. They said that they know that when there was footage somewhere that they have of her driving. Now, keep in mind, I mean, there's footage cameras everywhere, along the roads and stuff where they're at. That they did have footage of her driving alone. So that does kind of rule out the theory that somebody was in the car at the gas station. Uh, Let me make sure I don't miss anything. No one knows for certain if she had drank too much. Her parents said she didn't really do like a lot of like drinking. It really wasn't her thing. We know she did smoke marijuana, but as far as drinking, it just wasn't her thing to do. Somebody asked her mom straight out, like, if is it rare that like she would go to these lakes by herself this late, right? Because I know I wouldn't, but that's because I'm terribly afraid of the dark. But her mom said no, she was kind of like just pretty fearless and she liked to go there alone, and that, was not odd for her to go to one of those places alone if she needed to clear her head. So when people said if she needed to clear her head, I didn't understand that, but it does kind of make a little more sense now if there was a little fight at the party. Even if things ended all right, I could see, maybe she wanted to clear her head. Um, no, pointer lover, you don't. I can put it in. I'll put them back in my community post. You just click right on it, and you'll be in there, and boom. Like I said, it's very focused. We do no drama because look, I've been there. Group chats with drama don't ever end well. So I don't do that. And to be honest, it's fun to kind of carry the case discussion over to Discord. So, and obviously, if you have something you want to share about your life, share away. But so at this point, I don't necessarily think that they're going to find her in the lakes because I don't know. I think they would have if already. But anyways, that's kind of where they're at with that. Other than that, I haven't seen any updates as far as Jolissa. Okay, so moving on, I am going to probably butcher her name, and I'm really, 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 really apologetic about that, but it is what it is. So, Sally in Discord introduced me to this case, and I had not heard about this. And this is about a girl named, I want to say Allahnia. I'm hoping that's right. Lenoir. So I actually have got in contact and am having a little bit of communication with her aunt. I had not heard about this case before. So, from my understanding, she's 24 years old. She is from Georgia, and she was with a friend. They had been drinking, and she went with a friend to meet two guys, and we're going to get there. No news on Kaylee, pointer lover. No news, no leads, nothing. So it's just so discouraging. But we're not giving up. We still talk daily. We've got several people in a group here, more qualified than I am, that are working the case. So we're holding out hope. But so Alani and this friend, her name is Tori, they went to meet these guys at a apartment complex on Peachtree in Georgia. Allegedly, Alania's friend left the apartment around midnight. Hey, Rhodey Gale. Hey, Kellyanne. Left around midnight without her. And Allahnia was seen going in and never seen going back out. So we're going to watch really quick. It's about 8 minutes, but it's really good because it'll give you kind of an overview. The guy's name is TJ Ward. So he's a private investigator that was working on Natalie Holloway's case, and he has taken on this case as well. So this was the best probably description of what I've seen, and this case is pretty wild. It's just very wild. Thanks, Emily. I know we're trying to get it. Yes, Kaylee Jones jingles. Hey, S Hockett. But she needs more coverage, and so I was thankful, y'all, from the research I've done the last few hours. Yeah, it doesn't. It is scary to me. I have not. The aunt asked me to message her, and I did. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm going to obviously give them the option of what if they want to come on or not. But again, it's for me, it's pretty simple. I can ask her questions. That works for me as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this. Oh, first I want to show you guys when I first heard, okay, like she was in apartment in Georgia. I was thinking like something like kind of run down or whatever, like maybe she was in a bad neighborhood. But so this was the apartment complex she was at. Now this over here says student housing, but it's definitely not because it's called Midtown Apartment. Oh, thanks, Hope. Apartment luxury apartments. Thank you for coming. Yeah, Anio, here's the deal. At the end of the day, and I don't mean this badly, why beat a dead horse? It sounds so, there's no other way to put it. I just don't want to run it into the ground with different conspiracies because I think your brain can just go off in a million directions. You know, like there was legal activity, we know that, but at this point, all we're going to know right now is what we know. And I just think I'd rather just kind of like touch base on her every once in a while and move on. And Jolissa's is awful, but again, we're at a standstill with that unless Adventures with Purpose finds something or somebody comes forward. So that wasn't really that important, but when I showed you that, I wanted you to realize that she wasn't in this horrible part of town. In fact, the two guys, I've actually looked into them now that she was with. It's been kind of on the down low, but they were not they are, one is a day trader. Like they had some pretty good jobs. So they have some pretty good jobs. Let me just show you this interview first. That's going to best answer a lot of your questions because it did me to start with. But this case has gotten very little attention, and her parents are obviously very upset at the lack of attention it's got.
Missing series, we are focusing on the disappearance of Allahnia Lenoir, a young woman from Atlanta who had planned a night out with a friend when things
Hey, Michelle K. Hey, Mayhem and Miracles.
For the worse, and that's where the mystery starts. In just a moment, I'll be talking with a private investigator who has just signed on to this case. But first, correspondent Brooke Schaefer joining us live tonight with the very latest. Brooke, Allahnia was seen on surveillance entering an apartment building with a friend that night, and that was really the last sign of her.
Exactly, Emily.
Yeah, and her friend reportedly left that building, but Allahnia didn't. The 24-year-old woman seemed to just vanish, and now it has been weeks since her family or friends have heard from her.
I'm begging to please just keep her name. My daughter's name was Allahnia Lenoir.
Allahnia, okay.
And her friends knew her as Fruity.
A mother trying to stay optimistic. Her 24-year-old daughter, Allahnia Lenoir, missing since July 30th. Last seen on surveillance entering this Atlanta apartment building with a female friend around 8 p.m. The friend told police they were going there to chill. They met two men inside an apartment and they were all drinking. Lenoir's father says surveillance shows that friend leaving around midnight. but no sign of Allahnia.
She said, "Yeah, we were fine. Everything was okay. I mean,
I have
left
so
and,
much that I
was
found,
fine."
y'all.
They keep saying she's missing. And she's not missing. She's been taken. Those are facts. Somebody knows where she is.
Flyers posted around the neighborhood, pleas on social media, and vigils in the park.
We're gonna stop saying your name, Allahnia Lenoir. We will not stop talking for you. We will not stop fighting for you.
But more than 3 weeks later, there are still no clues.
We need to work from that apartment complex, work our way out to see if there's any evidence.
The family has hired well-known private investigator T.J. Ward, who worked on the Natalie Holloway disappearance in Aruba in 2005.
I have cadaver dogs, I have drones, and I have resources to assist me in trying to locate her.
Ward says at least one of the men from the apartment has a criminal record.
We are looking into those two individuals along with law enforcement and trying to find what may have transpired or where she may have been.
Alani's father preparing for the worst.
The least of the evil is that she was trafficked and somebody, took her, because then that gives us, the opportunity to try and find her, still alive.
Until they know for sure, they're sending love and hope to their daughter.
I know that your mother and I are going to continue to look for you until we find you. So just hang on, continue to hang on.
Now, Marnie, we did reach out to the Atlanta Police Department for an interview, but we didn't hear back. As for the family, they have started a GoFundMe page to help pay for this private investigator. Marnie?
All right, Brooke, thank you. Let's welcome in T.J. Ward, the private investigator now on this case. He has worked some of the nation's biggest missing persons cases, including, as you heard there, the Natalie Holloway case back in 2005. T.J., I appreciate your time tonight. Where do you start on a case like this?
Thank you very much for having me. First of all, we have to look at who was involved. We have to work our way out with people that were with her, witnesses that may know. This is not an ordinary missing persons case, because we have no idea where she is. I mean, I have access to aerial support, cadaver dogs, drones, and the problem with this is we don't know where to start to look. And I guess we're going to have to work our way out from the apartment where she was, and we have no idea. We know there was two men involved. One of them we know of has a criminal history, and the other person we're already looking into. The best way to start working on these type cases like this in the unknown is to start looking at people and witnesses. Somebody's going to talk. Somebody's said something about where she is, and we have to find that person and hope they come out. Maybe they'll talk to me more than they would talk to law enforcement. I don't know. But we have just got into this about a week ago through the father contacted me through their lawyer, his company he works for, and we're going to take this ball and run. My hope's to meet with law enforcement soon and try to share some information to them sharing with me. I'm a former law enforcement officer, 47 years, and in hopes that keeping things quiet, and that's probably why law enforcement hasn't spoken to anybody about this, because the confidentiality of information that they're developing and the leads they're getting is good, but they can't let that out. They can't let people know who they're talking to or what they found. That's super important. But as soon as we can establish who may know something or who may talk, that's going to be the importance of this type of case, because we have no idea how she left or where she is or who's with her other than these two men that we know about already. and I'm sure law enforcement is looking at them very closely.
Do you have any explanation yet, TJ? This stood out to me as I read the police report today that according to the family, a search warrant wasn't issued for that apartment where there is surveillance of her entering the apartment until about 10 days after she vanished. And according to the family, the two men in question, without incriminating them in any involvement, left the apartment, cleaned up, and are now gone. Have you verified any of that? And how does that complicate trying to find evidence in a missing persons case?
Well, I know for a fact that one of those individuals is on probation in a county here in Georgia. So I'm sure that they've already contacted their probation officer or whatever. But again, the leads that police have is confidential right now. And it's good to keep it that way so they can work their case, and in hopes that I can work with them, and anything that I might find, I will take them immediately.
Before I run out of time with you, TJ, this surveillance video must be critical in the police investigation and in your own investigation. Have you seen the surveillance video yet, and what exactly does it show?
I've seen part of it with somebody leaving, but I have not got into the video yet. I have few recordings of some of the witnesses that I'm analyzing. I have a system called layered voice analysis, and I can analyze these conversations, and I can tell you if somebody's lying or hiding something. And I'll share that with law enforcement and give it to them, and hope to move forward and find new information.
Well, I know the family is very appreciative, TJ, that you're on the case. I'm out of time, but I'd like to have you back because we'll continue to follow this. Thank you. And we'll
Thank you very much. And we have to pray so much for this beautiful young lady. It's missing.
Amen. All right, TJ.
Every time. Absolutely, PJ. So 10 days after somebody issues, yeah, I know, S-Hawk, I do it every time. They finally issue a warrant. I'm about to read to you what, now I found this on one of her pages somewhere. I don't even know. This is Tori's response. So Tori Green is the friend that went with her to this house. So this response is pretty lengthy, but you need to hear it because it's important. I will also say that her mom has said that it's really hard because all three of them, there was 4 people at this party, or at this meetup, right? At these luxury apartments. One is missing, one left, and the other 2, who knows? And the 3 that are left have been telling a different story. So they keep changing. So it's very hard. There's another thing I want to make a disclaimer right now, and I don't at all, I'm not talking about you guys, but I just know people. There is claims that she was a SW. What? Hey Tia, you guys know what that means. I don't think I can say the word in here, so if you know it in chat, put it in chat. That, first of all, unless I've had confirmation, then, and not my monkey, not my circus. Like, that's not for me to judge. I don't care if she is. She still needs to be found. So that's my disclaimer there. So here we go. Let's look at the post I saw. But I mean, of course, when that was released, that was a possibility, everybody's like, well, thank you, S. Hockett. Yes. Well, if she was, well, okay, but she's still a human. Like, just shut up. All right. So this is from Tori Green, and this is her. Whoops. I hate when I do that. So I am going to read it from my phone, but you guys have an idea. But I'm going to read it this way so I can see your comments. So hold on. Let me put me on the screen. There we go. Thank you, by the way, S. Hockett. All right. So Tori's the friend that went with her to the party. This might be a little long, but it's very important. Tia, wait, are you cloned? Right, exactly, Pointer Lover. You hear me say that a lot. Not my monkey, not my circus, not my business. Okay, so this is Tori. I didn't think I would have to address the internet, but let's discuss July 30th. Contrary to the internet's belief, I have not been hiding, nor am I on the run. This entire case was started and has all of the information it does because of me. Let's first begin with the fact that those men were indeed not random men to Alani. She had been going there for months. Now, one thing I want to make sure that I mention, so it was alleged that these two were random men that they met up with. So Tori is saying that no, that's not true. She had been going there for months by herself. And she goes on to say, she'd been going there alone for months, and they had always Ubered her home, she told me. And Alani had asked me to take her there. She wanted to hang out with them. That was my first time ever meeting these men. And many asked why I was comfortable leaving her there. Well, I didn't leave her. Alani was offered a ride from me about 3 times, and she declined. She said she was going to leave at 3 to go home and watch King, and that Stephen or Deontay, the name of the men, were going to get her an Uber. Now, when they say 3, obviously 3 a.m. And then she goes on to say, and I trusted that considering they've already gotten her home that way before, and she knew the men and was going there before by herself, I didn't once think something negative was going to come out of that night. Had I felt like something else was going to happen if I left her by herself, then I would have drug her out by her hair, whether she wanted to leave or not. And if those were random men to her, I would not have left her alone. And many ask what prompted me to leave. Well, to be utterly blunt, I was sitting alone in the living room, no TV on or music, and all I heard was SX sounds. And I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I don't want to hear that. So when I had realized the party was over, I was ready to go. When one of my friends said they were able to get me, I had sent Alani a text because she was in the room with Deontay and had begun asking and I had began asking if she wanted to leave with me. When they were done, they had come out and we then began planning how they were going to get her home since, hold on, I gotta go to the next. Hold on. Since she wasn't ready to leave with me. And then the next day I came back to get my car. Deontay wasn't even home. But that night, yeah, but that night I had been texting and calling Alani to see if she had made it home, and I didn't get a response. At the time, I didn't think much of it because there's been numerous times we've gone out and I tell her to let me know when she gets home and she doesn't. She gets home and goes to sleep, but will always hit me up the next day to tell me she's okay. Well, you just said she did. Okay. But okay, no, I get it. But that text never came. I kept calling and calling her phone, and her phone had ended up turning off. We hear that too many times, y'all. I was hoping she was just drunk asleep at home and her phone died while she was asleep, but I kept calling and sent some texts and they just stopped going through. Her phone never turned back on. No, that's not good. My texts to her are now turned green. Now, from my understanding, when a text goes from blue to that means like they both have iPhones. But when it turns green, it basically means I think that they're not getting it anymore. If you have iPhone to iPhone, keep this. Okay, I had asked each of the men what time she left, and each of them exactly as Hackett. Each of them gave me different stories and couldn't give me a set time that she left. They were also saying things like maybe she just needed some time to herself, which is absolute utter BS because in no world would Alani just dip off on everyone. I had started contacting Alani's close friends to see if anybody had heard from her, and they didn't. I reached out to Jeanette to see if Alani had come home, and she said what wasn't home, so I can't say for sure, but when I came back, she wasn't. We then reached out to her boyfriend to see if he heard from her, and he hadn't heard from her since lunch the day before. At this moment, we knew something was wrong. Alani's close friends and I began calling all the hospitals and jails to see if she happened to be at one of those, and sadly, she wasn't. The next day, once it had hit 24 hours, I went to APD to file a missing persons case, but I was sent away and was told a family member has to open it. We then waited for Jeanette, what in the, oh, okay, to get off work and go open the case. When the case was first started, I went to the apartment. This is to Deontay and Steve's apartment with Alani's uncle, and stood there for hours waiting on Deontay to come out, and he never did. I spent 2 days waiting at the complex for him to come out before I was told to leave by APD, and if I came back, the complex was going to put trespassing charges on me, even though they knew exactly why I was there. However, in their defense, I was being a little crazy. I had tried kicking down his door and threw numerous objects at his bedroom window, hoping I'd hit it. While we were there, I called APD to come and do a wellness check to see if she was still in the apartment. Now, this is 2 days later, you all, 2 or 3 days later. At least 3 days later, because, yeah. And we waited there 2.5 hours for them to do a wellness check. And when they arrived, all they did was knock on the door, said they had no probable cause to just enter. Afterwards, her uncle and I had walked the complex, sharing Alani's story in hopes someone had seen her. While doing that, we met an incredibly sweet older lady who took it upon herself to go and bang on Deontay's door until he opened it. On August 3rd, he finally opened his door to the lady and allowed the lady to enter. She went missing on July 30th, okay? So this is August 3rd. She then FaceTimed me, the lady FaceTimed her, and walked me through the apartment, and Allahnia was not in there. However, Deontay's apartment looked as if it was in the process of clearing it out. All clothes from his closets were removed, food gone from pantry, and his table and countertops were completely wiped down. And the lady who entered sat there with him for a while, talking to him, asking questions about Alani, and in the span of that 15-minute recording, his story changed about 5 different times. He first started by saying she left with him, then it switched to she left at 4, then it switched, oh, okay, Ashake, but then it switched to she left in the morning time. Then he saw that one of her pimps picked her up, and Alani doesn't even have a pimp. And then he said she ordered herself an Uber, and that isn't even possible for Alani. She doesn't have an ID or debit card, so she can't even create an Uber account, let alone order one for herself. She relies on her friends and mom to order her Ubers. I had asked him why they didn't order her an Uber like they were supposed to, and they tried to tell me she said she didn't need one. Well, Lonnie has no car, and yet again, when I was leaving, we were all in agreement she was getting an Uber home, so I'm not sure how we went from that plan to her suddenly not needing an Uber. When I questioned Steven, this is the other man that was there, when I questioned Steve, he didn't have much to say. He tells me he left at 4 a.m. and came back at 8 a.m., and she apparently wasn't there. Now, what was he doing for those 4 hours? I have no idea. I asked multiple times, and he dodged the question each time. I wish I had more information on this case, but the sad truth is that I don't. Even though the internet has turned this into internet drama, which, I mean, we barely heard about it, I'm utterly thankful I had went with her that night, because if it wasn't, we would have no trace of Alani. So I'm grateful for the information we do have. Okay, so that's Tori's response. Now I want to show you something else, though. So we have Tori's response. Let's go to, now she also showed screenshots of texts with the men right after they left. So I don't know why I stopped sharing that when that's where I got to go. Okay, so this is from Alani's mom right here. Let me put this up full screen so y'all can see it. So this is communication between Alani's mom and Tori, the friend, the day she went missing. It says, hey, is Lottie okay? This is Tori. None of us have been able to get a hold of her today. Her mom said, haven't seen her since Friday, but that's normal. And her mom, Tori says she didn't come home last night. Mom says, She doesn't have a charger. She normally doesn't come home until Tuesday. Wasn't home, so I can't say for sure, but when I come back, she wasn't here. Now, and then he talks about that. So about, we haven't seen her. In fairness, the thing where she says she hasn't come back from Tuesday, I think it's because she also stayed at her boyfriend's house a lot. Okay, so moving on. This is to Stephen. I believe this is to Stephen. This one doesn't say, but it just says, I don't know. Yeah, her mom, this is Tori. Her mom hasn't seen or heard from her. Neither has her man or any of us. Her phone been off all day, and she only sleeps at those two places. And he says, okay, I'll hit up, but I doubt she's going to answer my call if not her mom's. And then Tori says, her phone is off. It's been off all day. He replies, I know. She was pretty inebriated. Honestly, I thought you picked her up or a pimp or somebody. And then Tori says, y'all didn't call her an Uber? She didn't say where she was going. He texted me. He don't know either. How do neither of y'all know where hold on one second. So that had to have been Stevens. Okay, let's move on. And then on August 1st, she texts who I believe is Deontay and says, y'all got anything you want to get out before we look at those cameras at 10? He says, go ahead, I have nothing to hide. She said, you definitely do. That's why y'all got different stories. Like, TF did you go do at 4 a.m. for 4 hours, bro? So this is Steven. And he says, you're really starting to try me at this point. I've been being cordial. I really hope you find your friend. And if there is anything physically I can do, let me know. She says, I'm sorry. She's just never done this. Incredibly out of character. Did she say someone was picking her up? And he said, I'm not mad. I'm just irritated. And then she says, bro, F, your irritation, my friend, is effing missing. And he said, when I came back, she had left. The main thing I know is she had to go watch her brother at some point. And then she says, so why your friend saying she left around 8? He says, the N word, because she left around 8 according to him. I was not there. You can check, whatever. She sobered up and dipped is my presumption. How the hell am I supposed to really even answer that? And then she just said, oh, I can't wait for this MF leasing office to open. Y'all are done for. You last MF to see her. This is with what I would assume be Deontay. She says we ain't been able to find Fruity all day. Her mom said she didn't come home. Do you know where she went? He says, when you left, I chilled. I think she left this morning. Yeah, this is Deontay. Where the F did she go? I don't know how she left. Tori says her phone's off. None of her friends know where she is or her man or her mom. And he said, shit, I thought you came and got her. I didn't even know your car was there all the time. And she says, bro, where the F is this girl? You drad ass. Don't know. I don't even know what word that is, but. And then she says, so she stayed the night there. And then he says, I don't think the whole, like I said, she dipped out after I left. And I thought you scoped her or somebody was sort of mad, but I understood. What is scope? I don't get it. Wasn't her phone just effed up for a week or something? I don't know. That's what she said. Don't know how true. She says, okay, well, your friend said she left this morning. She just got a brand new phone. You said you went back at 8. She wasn't there. He said, no, she wasn't. Thought she sobered up and went to her brother because she was 8. Okay. Oh, and then she says, yo, y'all want to come up with some better excuses or I'm going to send the cops to that apartment because ain't shit adding up. Y'all got to 8:05, MF. Holy cow. So there we go. It can also indicate, so let me go back through the messages. So there you have it. That was the correspondence between Tori, the friend that left at midnight, and Deontay and Steven. Obviously, in this correspondence, we see they were completely, like, not even on the same page. Like, so what I heard someone say it meant that, okay, and Amber says It is blue for iPhone when being sent iPhone to iPhone. Okay, green for mess. Gotcha. Can also green power. All right. Okay. So it kind of sounds like we're all on the same page. Whose birthday is it? LFT, happy birthday. I know. So that's what I'm thinking he means, scooped her up. Now, so the big thing is that allegedly let me show you a picture of Deontay here. Allegedly, she did, Brookie. Allegedly, her TikTok says, I did not see it, said sugar baby escort. I don't know. So there's rumor that she, was an escort. Again, I don't care. She's still missing. So in the surveillance that they've seen, as we hear from TJ too, there is video of her walking into that building. But yes, Cindy, it is. But there's no video that we know of her not walking into the building. So I want to show you all something. Because you're yeah, hold on. I probably shouldn't dox him. Never mind. But I'll show you some. I think it's in this page too. No, I thought they had a picture of him. Okay, so here we go. Remember? So this is. Remember, TJ said that he did not. I live local and just suffer. Cindy, that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's crazy. So this is Deontay. Remember, TJ said there was somebody with a record, but he couldn't. He didn't want to share right now. Well, it's out there. So this is Deontay, and it would seem that old Deontay has quite a record. That Deontay Reynolds, convicted of felon of possession of a weapon, date of booking 12/3/20. I get it. So it's just we get it. It could mean nothing, but he does have a record for possession of a weapon. Let me see. There was a picture of him, but this is her mom's post. What did I just do?
Met two gentlemen at their home. That night was the last time anybody seen or heard from her. Since then, a lot of information has came out, and my daughter's not missing. My daughter has been abducted. What I'm asking is for you to continue to just tell this story. This happened in Midtown Atlanta. The police have been very slowful in their communication and their transparency in their investigation. It took some newscasting and political affiliations and jumping up and down for me to even get a response within a week. I begged, I pleaded, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I'm just asking for you to repost her story. I know they keep saying she's missing. And she's not missing. She's been taken. Those are facts. Somebody knows where she is. Please. I'm begging to please just keep her name. My daughter's name was Allahnia Lenoir. And her friends knew her as Fruity. Help me.
Every time I do that. If that doesn't break your heart, she is a mama in pain. One interesting thing I will say is she did say it's not Cindy. She did say that she was taken. That's a fact. So I don't know if that means that she has information we don't, or if it just means that they know because these guys aren't saying anything. I mean, look, the bottom line is she was last seen at this place and with these two gentlemen who can't keep their story straight, who then within days clear out their apartment. So I checked into that, Sandy, and I'm gonna keep checking into that. Punkette, maybe you always find that good stuff. I can't see that there'd be a back way out of it, but that, there might be. I couldn't because the way it pointed, the apartment complex was kind of like it was like a leaning tower of pizza or something. It was just like an angle type thing. So I don't know that there'd be a back way out of it, or if they actually obtained all the. I'm trying to find the other guy, the footage, so they know that wasn't the case. Um, I will say one interesting thing about these two men is, like I said, they weren't like they had both of them have suits and ties on in their Facebook profile picture, and it could be an image. One is from LA who moved to Atlanta, and one is from Washington D.C. who lives in Atlanta. I will say his stuff, his profile says that he's an investor, a day trader, and a financial advisor and an entrepreneur. Now his one of his first pictures on his page is him, like, I believe the car is, I think that looks like a lamb, like a Ferrari or something like that, like super crazy. Again, we haven't, I hope, well, he's sitting on the car, so on the side of the street, so I would think it's his, but maybe not. But I'm just saying they're not like, there's something definitely fishy. I wonder if there's any chance these dudes are innocent. Brookie, that is too, that's a possibility too. The way TJ made it sound was that he really feels like, I mean, at this point, they're the prime suspects. What I'm, maybe Jen, like that woman who hopped it, right? Brookie, that's not a bad thought. Um, to me, y'all, it doesn't. That's the thing. They haven't said why they're moving out. They haven't said that they've given an explanation. And to be quite honest, they haven't even, to my knowledge, brought them in for questioning. I'm sure they've questioned them, but also the aunt, according to her Facebook, and I haven't spoken to her directly, so I'm hoping to get more of a direction, like, because I want to make sure we have facts, right? Um, all three of them keep changing their story. So in my mind, everybody says, well, Tori's very believable here. Maybe she is very believable. Maybe her story is completely true. But I mean, the text messages would indicate to me that she's telling the truth. Trying to keep all. Brookie, I love that. I love that perspective. I love that thought because you're absolutely right. You get tunnel vision. Immediately I'm thinking, dude, you're cleaning out your house. You wiped everything down. You're leaving. You've changed your story. You did it. So that's good. There's a girl who went viral on Instagram posting herself in front of some fancy car claiming it was her. Yeah, I mean, Amber, that's totally true. Who knows if he's a day trader or an entrepreneur? And texts can be deceiving too, like even if the texts are saying, well, Tori is completely innocent, text can be deceiving. things can be. It's just the whole thing. The bottom line is, y'all, it doesn't sound good. Thank you, S. Hockett. Here we are back again to a friend leaving a friend behind. Come on, ladies, the buddy system. Exactly. And that's exactly what Sally, I believe it was, said in Discord, like, or somebody in there said when we were looking into this. Again, we're leaving behind our friends. Ladies, gentlemen, children, teens, I don't care. Don't leave your friends alone. You know, Tori claims Alani said she's been there several times. I mean, I would think that Alani's been there a few times because, you know, I mean, how else did they meet up with these guys? So those parts of the story, I'm hoping to get a little better clarification about. Yes. Right. And right. And Brookie's right. And there's no judgment of that. There's a lot of things that we don't know, our parents don't know, you know? She could have been involved in something. All three of them could have been involved in something that didn't end well. We've seen it. Cindy says that area is not the best area to begin with, to be honest. But what is difficult for me is, okay, I'm checking Discord, Punkette, is the lack of seeing her come out of the building. And you know what? And I'm going to message her aunt because Pointer Lover's saying that about have they checked the boiler. I think they probably checked the apartment. Ow, my leg is asleep. I think they've checked the apartment, but have they really checked thoroughly? Oh gosh. Have they really checked thoroughly to the entire complex? I would have never thought check a boiler room or something like that. And that's such a great idea because is that, I mean, really, would somebody check that? Would they? It doesn't sound like law enforcement has exactly been super helpful. And this is the problem that we're back into again. These cases that aren't getting a lot of attention, and $10 days for them to get a warrant to check the apartment. Like, they could have been gone. In fact, didn't it say in that interview that they're gone now, or the guys are gone now? Like, why would who leave the apartment? Are you talking, why would Alani leave the apartment? And so, you know, allegedly, exactly, Kellyanne. That's how we were too. And maybe I'm just naive to. That's right, Pointer Lover. And then somebody said, well, then she left it in garbage bags. I mean, the thing is, they have to have video surveillance of well, exactly, Asaga. So Alani, she would leave, you know, to go. She was either supposed to go to her boyfriend's or her parents, and she didn't end up at either of those. Sandy, that too. There has to be footage of Deontay or Steve. Well, Steve said he left at 4 and he came back at 8 a.m. So people are saying, well, they both lived there. So what was he doing in that 4-hour span between 4 a.m. and 8 a.m. that he disappears? Okay, so let's say, here's our timeline. Tori leaves at 10. Nope, excuse me. Tori leaves at midnight. They're left, the three of them, alone from 12 to allegedly 4 when allegedly Steve leaves until 8 a.m. Deontay claims he's on the couch chilling, falling asleep, claims he doesn't know she left, that she didn't leave, thought she went with Tori, even though they had had a conversation allegedly before Tori left that they were going to get her an Uber home. Then Steve claims he came back at 8, but he won't answer the question of where he was for those 4 hours. So that's our timeline. But my problem with all of that is that there has to be footage. No, S. Hackett, so that's the other thing. Yes, Cindy, so they hired TJ Ward, And he worked on Natalie Holloway's case. And I know that the family themselves have only raised about $19,000 towards his services. And I think he's probably like something pulled at his heartstring for this case, because I'm sure he makes a lot more than that with since being on the Holloway case. So she does not have a license or anything like that that she would be able to even get an Uber, and she definitely doesn't drive. So that's why she was saying, and she doesn't have a debit card or anything like that. That is different, right? That's different. That could mean a couple things, but so that's what she's saying is there's absolutely no way she could have Ubered home or done any of that alone without their help, and they're claiming they didn't do that. And so there's a 3-hour span. Well, there's a long hour span that something could have happened to her, but there's got to be footage of those two men leaving the apartment. The claim was that Deontay has really, at first, wouldn't like not come out of his apartment and stuff. And even if Steven left at 4 a.m., there's got to be footage of that. And I would think that if he left with her or anything like that, they would see something. You know, look at Alexis Gabe. We saw something. Punkette, that's a good question. I'm going to ask about that. So I got a couple questions I want to ask then. The boiler room, the apartment complex, and the parking garage. That's true, Amber. That's very true. I have a really bad feeling, and it's awful. It's awful. What is that saying? Like the more time passes, the worse it is, you know. And the problem is we don't see her coming out. So that's what is mind blowing to me. They don't see her coming out. So other than what we've mentioned here, the boiler room, the parking garage, all that kind of stuff, or are they saying they didn't even see her come out of the apartment? Because don't apartments have, I gotta look into this. I gotta see if their hallways have video cameras. Most apartment complexes, don't they have video cameras in the hallways? That's what I'm saying, Amber. How do you not have probable cause? And then you get this poor old lady to walk through and FaceTime her while she's walking through this apartment. Of which, so August 3rd, when he finally opened his door to this little old lady who FaceTimed and circled the apartment with the FaceTime, by then, so she went missing July 30th. By then, his closets were empty, the food was empty, everything. Exactly, Sandy. Are they taking, I mean, let me tell you all what my stupid friend did. Some random Joe pulled up at a bar and told her he'd Uber her off. Oh my gosh, S. Hockett. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that's. I hope you yelled at her for days. Okay, Amber. Pointer lover, another great question. I'm putting that on the list too. That is, wait a minute, y'all. Wait a minute. Thank you, Pointer lover. You just gave me a thought. Thank you, Sandy. Duh. I forgot. That's, if they cleared out, they had to put that stuff somewhere, right? If they cleared out their apartment, it didn't even hit me till just now. Till you guys said that. If they cleared out their apartment, obviously they were bringing stuff out, clearing out. So where is that stuff? Yeah, I gotta ask all these questions. So, and we know TJ does say that law enforcement does have some stuff, obviously, that they can't reveal, they can't come out with. But I think if we don't see her coming out of alive of that apartment, but they cleaned it out and they brought things out, like Sandy's saying, moving containers, suitcases. It's not, I mean, we all know it's not good. But what happened? I don't know. Right, Amber. It didn't even hit me until Pointer Lover said suitcase and Sandy said moving out. And I was like, duh, they were moving out. Exactly, S. Hockett. Why don't they bring dogs in? Like, I'm not understanding this, like, lack of, yeah. Amber, yes, they have, I believe they have completely moved out now. But what I want to ask her aunt is just that do they even know where they are now? Or have they bailed completely? Because that would be terrible. Um, but it's just like, I mean, Tatiana, I think Tatiana Luke is how you say her name, the 14-year-old that ran away from the juvenile detention center and with another girl, and they've been known to frequent the Royal Inn Motel with some older gentlemen. It's just, and she's 14. It's just terrible, but she's not getting like a lot of. She's a runaway, so she's not getting a lot of like law enforcement support. I don't think so either, Pointer Lover. But I just don't want to happen to her what happened to Alexis Gabe, where they still can't find her. I mean, she couldn't have just run away. She has nowhere to run to because she doesn't have a license or anything, and she would have ran with. I mean, she had a boyfriend that she lived with, which is also a little bit weird because not weird, but I'm just saying she wasn't, like I'm surprised her boyfriend was okay with her going to these gentlemen's house. So there are some questions, but again, not my monkey, not my circus. Which one, S. Hockett, Tatiana? I think so too, if that's who you're talking about. Maybe both. Maybe both. It's just really sad. We've seen over and over again runaways getting no attention whatsoever. Yeah, S. Hockett, I do too. I do too. And at 14, you don't even, I mean, I'm telling you, some older guy offers you money and so you don't even, yeah, it's just, she's with a friend. I can't remember the friend's name. I'll have to look it up, but um, they've been, I guess she's been spotted. Allegedly, she's been spotted. This is Tatiana has been spotted on the west end of Dallas, having lived there between 12 and 4 a.m. Having lived there, knowing the west end of Dallas, it's not good. The situation that she's involved in. And you're right, Pointer Lover. As far as Alani goes, they definitely got her out of that apartment somehow. And we know, based on what law enforcement and TJ said and family said, that they did not get her out of where there was video cameras alive that we've seen. Yep, you're right, Sandy. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna see if they checked all these areas. I'm thankful that TJ is working with them because if they're not getting law enforcement help, the best thing that they are getting right now is a really good private investigator. So, and I'm telling you, if he worked the Holloway case and he's that well known, I can imagine that he charges a lot. So, I think it's cool. But, and did you hear the news lady said her dad was preparing for the worst? And that was really sad because her he said isn't it awful because he said the least like the least thing, or how did he put it, like trafficking would be the best answer right now because they feel that, I think they have a suspicion that it's not going to end well. I agree, S. Hockett. If she was putting up any type of a fight or sucks. This is a terrible situation. One of these days, I'm going to get Amber's friend who works at a rescue center for trafficking to come on and talk about it. But yeah, neither one of these situations are going to. Tatiana, I hope I'm saying her name right. I have a little bit more hope because there are people that said they've seen her around and they've seen her in that motel, or they've seen her on the west end of Dallas every night. So I have a little more hope for that. But the problem is with girls her age, and we saw it with Natalie Morris in Dallas, getting them out of that lifestyle is very hard because you're so impressionable. And like, 1 minute you're, well, they call them Johns or whatever, the guys that organize it can be like really nice and sweet, and then the next minute they can turn, like, it's just a really hard to get them out of that lifestyle because they feel like, I don't know, in some weird way they need that or something. Apartments are luxury, but within miles there are bad areas. No, really, Cindy? Okay. Because the hard part is I was thinking, okay, did she leave? Did they go somewhere else? Do we know that, she didn't end up somewhere else with them and it took place? But again, she didn't come out. Yes, they do threat. It is out of control, y'all. It is, and there is a reason that they typically, will pick vulnerable people, or it is very hard to get out of that lifestyle. Pointer lover, exactly, exactly. And it's just really sad. And they just drop the ball, drags their feet. You can't go 10 days without like looking into this without a warrant. It's just nuts. I don't understand it at all. And that's what they're doing with these with runaway kids too. I mean, originally with Tatiana, I had heard that it was actually like a center that she ran away from was actually one that helps with runaway kids. But then I heard it was a juvenile detention center. But if she's run away before, so there's some states, and Texas might be one of them, Georgia's one of them, where you it's illegal to run away, and if you run away, if you're underage, you get sent to a juvenile detention center. So that might be the case that happened here, and that's why she was in this facility. Possible. Yes, Andy. Not always, but yes. Yeah, Hope Grace. Hope, that's not a bad thought because her mom did say it is fact she was abducted. But abducted would mean she came out of the apartment. That's the thing. It's very confusing. Unless law enforcement did see her come out, but we've heard no. We've heard footage going in, but not out. So these are some of the questions I'm going to make sure I get the aunt to answer. I'm really, really apprehensive. You know how I am with the parents. I don't want to expose them. If they're not already over here on YouTube, I just really don't want to expose them to YouTube. They absolutely should S-Hawk it. They absolutely should. It is really sad, Amber. And actually, I'm not even sure if your friend could even come on here because I don't know, like, with the privacy of, I don't know, like, with her working at that facility and stuff, but. And they do, Sandy, they absolutely do. They keep them drugged up all the time. All the time. In fact, you remember the little boy, Ashton, that was 7, that was found in the chicken coop and had been with the people that were doing meth? I really think that, like, they were drugging him up for a reason. I know, so done with it. I know, it's awful. Yeah, maybe, Amber. S-Socket, I know. I mean, sometimes it ends well, and she might end up wanting to come on mine or somebody else's channel or whatever, but when I looked at her mom's Facebook, her mom wasn't even the one writing on her Facebook anymore. Her sister was very like open to that it was her. So I think her mom's just so devastated she's kind of just pulled away. But hey, shh. But sorry, we've got the chicken being cooked. But so I don't know. But like Jolissa's mom was on Facebook and she's been on a couple channels, and then I saw another creator like, well, ask her to come on. She'll come on your channel, she'll talk or something, and I'm thinking, well, I'll just go watch the other channel. I don't need to bring her on my channel. Like, I don't need to keep bringing these people on different channels. I'll just listen to her live and get the information. You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we bringing them on we're not bringing them on a lecture circuit or I don't know. It's okay if you do that. I just feel weird about it. I lecture all the time, but I know she's listening to the eye rolls. Hey, so done with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, there was just a 6-year-old boy that escaped an abductor and using some tactic that he had heard his mom talk about once. And I remember I noticed it because the article said, when you think your kids aren't listening, they really are. But with these cases, it's just really hard because like I said, there's a majority of the people are going, well, she did this. This was her profession. Like, maybe it was, but it doesn't mean she deserved foul play or to be missing. Like, it's not my business. And I hope that if there's some miracle and she's found safe, that she can get the help she needs to heal and not have to do it or something. I don't know. But it is very scary. It is very scary. In fact, we were at the fair last week, and my daughter was like a little bit in front of me, and I was like, do not get too far in front of me. So this stuff makes you more aware. So the age of Alani, she is, excuse me, sorry, y'all. She is 24, and Tatiana is 14. Tatiana's Dallas, ran away from the juvie center, and Alani is 24-year-old that never came out of the apartment. Exactly, Amber. Was that their fault? Right, exactly. It makes them vulnerable. It means that something in their life has made them feel like they have to do. I don't know. But it doesn't mean that, yeah, exactly. Don't know what it is. But anyways, y'all. Well, I'm gonna hop off here and jump over to LFT's live because I want to be there to celebrate her, or to Decipher podcast to celebrate her birthday, and don't want to miss that. And I know she's hopping over there, but we'll keep following this case. Just keep looking over her. And also next week I will have on Vlad. Well, I'll post it. Brian Vlad Hassel sisters. He's been missing too. So, anyways, yes, please go over and celebrate with LFT. I used to do past a certain. Brookie, I would love to hear your story. That's amazing. Past a certain point, you start to think it's safe. That makes a lot of sense, Brookie. That makes a lot of sense. I really appreciate you being here. Stop. Sorry. I really appreciate you being here and giving your thoughts, and welcome. And I hope you'll pop in again. It was really great to have your thoughts here. So, I will, I will, Punkette. Brookie, I plan to continue it through because I'm not liking the dogging she's getting. Brookie, I love that. I don't love that you felt that way, but yeah, you're right. I'm going to tell my family, that sounded really, no one clip that, but no, you're right. You start to just feel like that's what you're worth. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.